Okay. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to council meeting for June 24th. What a beautiful day it is today. As you can see, it's shiny, a little bit breezy. I just wanted to thank our volunteers, our business community, and those that were involved in the Midsummer Thursdays that happened last Thursday. It was the first one that occurs, and those that do not know anything about the Midsummer Thursdays, it's the third Thursday of June, July, and August, where we close down Main Street. We have businesses and community groups participate in making sure that we put on performance for residents to get together and connect. And from what I heard and what I've seen, it was a great event. So thank you for all those that participated and got involved and came down to Stony Plain and seen what your town's all about. Members of council, there is an agenda before you. Before I call for the adoption, just want to highlight one thing. There's just a slight change in the agenda. Item 9.2, which is the Fire Department Master Plan Update. That was a motion that was done in November when we had a corporate plan. Seeing that we are currently in the process of searching for a new fire chief. So I thought that would be a good idea to maybe postpone this until we get the new fire chiefs to have some input in that and when they come and present to council so we know what we're going in terms of going forward. That motion originally came from Councillor Laurie. Are you okay with that?
Yes, Your Worship, I'm supportive that we defer that for now.
Okay, thank you. So that's the only changes with the agenda. Administration, anything else to add or change?
Your Worship, thank you. No, nothing else to change on the agenda.
Okay. Go ahead, Councillor Hansard.
Mr. Mayor, you said that motion came from Councillor Laurie, but you haven't even started the meeting, so how would we have a motion? Are you suggesting that it was a suggestion from Councillor Laurie?
No, so that fire department master plan update is a result of a motion
from way back.
In November when we had corporate plan, and I'm just asking him if it's okay because it was his motion to bring it back by the second quarter.
Got it.
Okay, seeing none, Deputy Mayor Plechko, please.
Yes, thank you, Your Worship. The Town Council adopted June 24th, 2024 regular council meeting agenda as amended to postpone item 9.2, Fire Department Master Plan update, to come back to council prior to the end of 2024.
Okay, thank you, Deputy Mayor. I'll call the question. All those in favor? Okay, and that's carried. Moving on with our agenda is number 3. It's a public input session. This is the time that we allow residents and stakeholders to talk to council about anything that's not on the current agenda. Administration, has anybody registered to speak?
Through Your Worship, no one has registered.
Okay, thank you. Looks like we have a fairly full gallery tonight. Is anybody in the gallery like to speak to council on anything that's not on the current agenda tonight? Okay, see none. We'll move on to number 4, which is presentations and delegations. Today we have 2. The first one is the appointment of the next deputy mayor. All right. Shall Councillor Laurie is the next deputy mayor. Let me get to that page. I don't know. All right, for those that are watching through our live stream and those that are in the gallery, the deputy mayor appointments is rotated for every 4 months, and every member of council gets the opportunity to be the deputy mayor for 2 terms throughout the election term cycle. And I just want to thank Councillor Plechko for the work. It's been really great to have you on board, and you took up quite a few meetings that I was not able to attend, so thank you for that. Next up is Councillor Laurie. If I can have a motion, please. Councillor Loynes.
I move that the Town Council appoint Councillor Justin Laurie as Deputy Chief Elected Official for the term of June 24th, 2024 to October 31st, 2024, or until the appointment of the next Deputy Chief Elected Official.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Laurie, since we're making an appointment about you, you can't say anything bad. Any members of council, any comments and debate? See now, I'll call the question. All in favor? Okay, and that is carried. And to make it official, Councillor Laurie.
Faithfully, to the best of my ability. Execute according to law.
It's not that kind of. Right, with that official, welcome on board, Deputy Mayor Laurie. We need to sit down. There's a few dates that I need you to cover for me when I'm away, and there's a couple meetings that I'm not able to attend because I'm double booked. Okay. With that, moving on to agenda number 4.2 is the Stony Plain Public Library 2023 Annual Report. I see we have members of the library, so welcome. Thank you. There's actually a sign-in sheet there. And if you can also introduce yourself to members of council before you go. Thank you. Yep, whenever you're ready, there's a mic, so you have to push it so the red dot comes on, and then just speak directly into the mic.
Good evening, and thank you for giving us this opportunity to provide you with an update. I'm Dawn Horn, Treasurer of the Stony Plain Public Library, and with me is Vice Chair Claire Callback and Director Lena Kelly. In your council package, you'll find our 2023 annual report to the public, sharing some highlights from the past year. Copies are also available at the library and on our website. In the next few slides, we will highlight a few things from this report and also dive into some information not mentioned but of interest to the council.
In this report, we wanted to highlight first the staff at Stony Plain Public Library. Through a tumultuous year full of change in 2023, they kept the library open and providing high-quality library services to all library patrons. In the report, you will see some of the comments patrons have shared about the committed staff. Because of their unfaltering diligence, the patrons of our library did not experience any noticeable interruptions to or drop in the quality of library service throughout 2023, despite many staff vacancies, including in the director and deputy director roles. Last year, the board began creating our new plan of service, which came into effect January 1st of this year. We began by conducting community input sessions, which included a comprehensive written survey. Sorry, lost my place. Okay, comprehensive written survey and 2 in-person input sessions. We gained a tremendous amount of responses. With the assistance of the YRL, the Yellowhead Regional Library, we compiled the input from the community and 4 main focus areas emerged for our plan of service. We call them the 4 pillars of our plan of service. They are building lifelong learners, contributing to a vibrant, growing community, being integral to leisure time, and being an excellent place to work. The plan of service was written with careful consideration to complement and reflect the goals in the town's strategic plan. We recently welcomed Town Manager Tom to our board meeting to update us on the town's plan of service, which was insightful for us as we continue our work.
I'm going to share with you some of the innovative programs we offered in 2023 and some unique ways we are using social media to engage with our community. One program I want to highlight for you that has had a positive impact in the community is the Happiness Program. Last year, Stony Plain Public Library was chosen by the Alberta Library to pilot the Happiness Program, an interactive projector system that was developed in the UK that is designed for use by people with cognitive impairments or dementia and Alzheimer's. The projector has interactive illustrations, jigsaw puzzles, a jukebox, and simple games designed to spark long-term memories or engage users in play. We are among the first libraries in Canada to bring this innovative technology and programming to the public. The Happiness Program has been a success at Stony Plain's long-term care facilities where we conduct outreach programs and can also be enjoyed by patrons in the library. Technology Coordinator Dareth has been visiting the Stony Plain Care Centre and running the Happiness Program in their dementia cottages. The people in this area are relatively low functioning due to the progress of their disease. And after one of our sessions there, the nurses informed us that one of the residents that joined in and stayed throughout the entire event had not engaged in any activity outside of his room for over a year before our visit with the Happiness Program. Stony Plain Public Library has also carried out some successful and engaging social media campaigns in the past year. We continue to highlight new downtown businesses on our social media in an effort to be a good neighbor and contribute to the continued revitalization of downtown. We also ran a Meet the Staff campaign, which had high patron engagement and elicited many fond memories and comments, further showing us that our greatest asset is our staff.
As you can see from these graphics, services are back in full force post-COVID. Stony Plain Public Library was open an additional 110 hours in 2023, and our in-person visits increased by over 60,000 visits from 2022. Our circulation of physical items was up from 2022, with patrons borrowing over 200,000 items from both our local collection and through the interlibrary loan system. We always say that a library is more than just books. SPPL provides many other valuable services to the community, and in 2023, residents definitely took advantage of these services. Our room rentals proved very popular, especially since our meeting room can allow users to stay beyond closing time. We provided space for 435 community meetings and gatherings, including job interview space, condo board meetings, craft circles, weight loss groups, and special presentations from outside organizations. We also help administer exams, providing quiet space and access to laptops for students taking post-secondary courses. This is a popular service offered at a low cost, but assisting residents in completing their education while continuing to live in the area. We offered 590 programs for all ages, including children, teens, adults, and seniors. Our programs range from early literacy programs for young families to a Queer Straight Alliance for teens and to intergenerational outreach programs between youth and seniors living in continuing care. It's been a privilege to be a part of supporting the community's leisure, educational, and even relational needs as our programs bring people together to have fun, learn, and create connections. Our program attendance was better than ever, especially thanks to our funding increase that allowed our program and activities coordinator, Laura, or you may know her as Miss Honey, to work full-time and year-round. Her creative programming continues to be a huge draw for the community.
So in the fall of 2023, the Stony Plain Public Library Board contracted Dr. Margaret Law to perform an organizational review. Dr. Law is a highly respected and expert library consultant with many years of experience working both in rural Alberta communities and internationally. She visited the library, observed and interviewed the staff members, board members, and members of the Friends of the Library group. Drawing from her extensive experience working with libraries and her observations from her investigations in our library, she submitted a report to us. We are calling it the Organizational Review. It is loaded with advice on our organizational structure, board governance, finances, hazards and safety issues, strategic direction with our plan of service, and library best practices to meet the needs of the residents of Stony Plain. Her report was delivered at our February board meeting. Here we are 6 months later, and already we have implemented some of the suggestions of the report. Things are running smoothly and efficiently. There's more to come, but we are happy to report that the library has taken the plan of service and the organizational review And with these two tools, we are headed on the path to an even more vibrant library for our community.
The organizational review has been a very helpful tool for me as a new director and has already helped the board's work move forward quicker and in a more focused way. As Claire mentioned, we have already accomplished many goals and have made progress on several others. For example, we have updated our banking to use electronic funds transfer, which allows us to send money electronically, reducing staff time in producing and cashing checks. Some other recommendations that have been implemented or started from the organizational review are reducing board committees, rewriting staff job descriptions to meet organizational needs and changing the aspects of some positions, rearranging collections to better suit the needs of our patrons, and looking at ways to reduce barriers to library access for the patrons of Stony Plain. The board has formed an organizational review implementation working group to work with myself on prioritizing the recommendations and assigning board-related work to certain members of our board. This will ensure the recommendations are consistently and sustainably implemented and that the budgeting process is tied to work needed in the organizational review. Additionally, I have prepared a 3-year work plan outlining the implementation of the changes recommended in the organizational review, and we will use this work plan to keep track of the work completed by myself, by staff, and by board members, with adjustments made to the plan based on funding, staffing, or other emergent issues.
Okay, so we want to give you a glimpse, or a little sneak peek of what's coming. Our 80th anniversary next year. Pretty cool. Yeah. 2025 will mark the 80th anniversary of the Stony Plain Public Library, and that's an incredible milestone. We're hoping to celebrate our 80th anniversary in a way that is low in cost and high in impact, including special events and activities. We are anticipating the excitement that the 80th anniversary is going to generate. Lena has taken the steps to develop a partnership between the Youth Center and the library. As you know well, the Youth Center is a short walk away from the library. When the Youth Center closes in the evening, the library is still open, and sometimes the youth head over to the library. Lena had the innovative idea to partner with the Youth Center to bridge that gap between the library services and the Youth Center. In the coming year, you will see exciting ways the library can encourage and support the youth in our community, particularly in our main street and downtown area. The next point is that the Stony Plain Public Library received a grant for $5,000 from the Public Library Services Branch of Municipal Affairs to offer digital literacy programming. So starting this fall, we are going to partner with Tricala to offer digital literacy sessions for seniors, newcomers, and job seekers in our library through the fall and winter. Topics covered will include using social media, online shopping, how to use productivity tools such as Google Drive, Microsoft Office Suite, and others. We have also seen that early literacy helps build a firm foundation for the success of the next generation. Our early literacy programs are currently, happily, always oversubscribed. We are going to be increasing our early literacy programs in 2025, including piloting opportunities for working parents to bring their children to programs on the weekend.
So in conclusion, the library continues to be a hub in the vibrant heart of our community. With the support of Town Council and the daily commitment of our staff members, the Stony Plain Public Library is a place of growth, learning, and connection for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you for the presentation, and wow, that was a great presentation. And just on behalf of council, thank you for your partnership with the town of Stony Plain to re-engage the downtown and re-engage our residents to make sure that they know what the library is and that the library is invested in the community as well as their own well-being. So thank you for that. Members of council, any questions for clear understanding on the presentation? Councillor Anderson?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you all for being here, and the rest of the team behind you certainly appreciate seeing you here as well. Really cool to hear some of the things that are going on at the library. I think you've touched on a ton this evening, but just this idea of digital literacy for some of our older residents. You know, there's this tremendous digital divide between that segment of our population and our kiddos that are now born with cell phones in their pockets, right? And certainly there's some challenges that are presented there, even as a result of not having access or not having an opportunity to engage and ask those questions. And so I think that's a phenomenal opportunity there, which actually highlights another piece that was great to hear, and that's the community partnerships that have been intentionally fostered sort of across the spectrum of age groups, talking about the early literacy side, talking about, again, Tricala, talking about the partnerships with our youth programming in the community, which is certainly a priority of council, made it into our strategic plan this year, looking at opportunities for youth. And so some absolutely amazing things happening. I do have a couple of questions. I don't know that they're questions that have a easy answer necessarily, but maybe require a little bit of speculation. And so looking at what you presented us this evening for council, it's page 15 and 16, but certainly seeing increases across the board in visitors, in circulated items, meeting spaces, et cetera. We know that there were some additional hours that you were open this year, not that we can draw a direct correlation there, but maybe just some thoughts on what has led to those increases, which are great to see, but what do you think is behind that?
I think in terms of our meeting space, it's definitely a need in this community, and I know that council and the town are moving forward on a recreation center that will have meeting space. I think that is well needed in this community. Our meeting rooms are constantly booked by a variety of different organizations. We sometimes find it hard to book for our own needs. But I think just, people are coming out of their shells post-COVID. They're ready to be back in the community, meeting, getting those things off the ground again. And I think that's been a big piece of getting the meeting rooms booked for sure. I think the increased exam bookings, we can look at people moving to online learning and finding the convenience of that and how that has improved over the pandemic. And now they're here asking us to help them with exams. And we have exams almost every day booked. With our laptops and our staff, especially for Athabasca University, that's a really popular one. So I think we're seeing some bounce back in services from COVID, and perhaps I feel that the library was, didn't get its moment of glory with opening during that pandemic, and we are taking our moment to shine now that the community is excited to be back out doing things. So.
Yeah, and I love that. I think the conversation in the community speaks volumes about the work that's going on at the library, despite some of the changes and different things that have gone on in the last few years, COVID and whatnot. It's a space and people in a space that are just well respected within our community. I do have one more, Mr. Mayor, if I may, and you mentioned this in your package. I don't think it was mentioned specifically in the presentation, but that is your volunteers. And, every time we've seen the library come in, there's often some comments about the role that the volunteers provide. Now, I don't know if we have staff behind you or volunteers, but 1,288 volunteer hours, which is significant. But just maybe a couple thoughts on the impact that the volunteers have on the library and the role that you have in the community.
If I may, I was at the Stony Plain Public Library in 2017 as a practicum student. And that is when I really fell in love with this community, and something that impressed me incredibly was the volunteerism and dedication of this community. I had never seen a library with so many volunteers in it. And we still rely on our volunteers for lots of different aspects of our library. They're dedicated patrons, they're dedicated volunteers, and staff know them by name. We actually just offered a position to one of our youth volunteers. So sometimes they become staff too in their own right as things open up. But they do everything in our library. They help us with everything from paging to repairing books to processing books to running events or helping us move furniture around for different events. So we're really lucky to have an amazing group to draw upon.
Which I would expect allows you to run the number of programs that you do and the increase in the number of programs and that sort of thing. So just one quick final question related to the volunteers. Do you find that the volunteers that you have are sufficient currently, or are you still looking for more volunteers? So maybe a chance to shout out to the community about opportunities at the library.
Definitely. I don't have anybody here from the Friends of the Library group, but I know that they would love some extra volunteers to help them with everything from their book sale to the various community events that we're called out to, or running a booth on the Midsummer Thursdays. It's been difficult for them to get volunteers. I think just people have retired from volunteering, right? As demographics change. So I think they definitely could use some great volunteers coming out. Yeah.
Perfect, and appreciate that. And I know our staff have heard that, and our volunteer center staff, I'm sure, have heard that as well, which is a great connection and opportunity to recruit additional volunteers when necessary. So thank you again. We appreciate all you do. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Councillor Anderson. Councillor Pletchko?
Yes, thank you, Mayor Choi. Just for the audience, I just want to say, sitting in the audience today, and I think it's really important that you have the audience that you have behind you today, is board members. And that is something that speaks loud to council. For those on council that aren't aware, there are several board members sitting at the back. There is members of Lena's team and some volunteers, but that is a good makeup of our board sitting at the back there. Well supported and very full of energy to bring new things to the library. So I just wanted to say acknowledgement to the people that come out with you today. It takes a lot of time and effort for that, and I appreciate that. And council knows who is also sitting at the table. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Pletchko. Councillor Hansard.
Thank you, Your Worship. It's a privilege to have you in council chambers, all of you. I wanted to say that I think back over so many years ago, I sat in on the library board meetings for Judy Bennett when she was fighting cancer, and then got appointed to the library board. And I will tell you that there have been so many good things that have come out of our library, even when it was in the older space and there were dreams of a new library. The many dreams have come true, things that probably the library board was told were not going to happen. But then, you know, wonderful things come about. You're in a new building. The thing that I think is important is that it hasn't all been easy. Every board has its ups and downs. There are always some kinds of struggles. Hopefully, each member of council who has sat here over the years has been able to contribute and assist different boards and committees. And I know those of us who have sat on library board take great pride in those years that we sat there and helped work through stuff. So I want to commend you for continuing to work through whatever challenges you have. And goodness knows there have been quite a few. What I will tell you is that it's very appreciated by this councillor that you don't give up, that you keep on trying to find the best way. And for the most part, the public knows only that it's a great library. And that's really all that matters. Those are the judges of how well the library is doing. What's wonderful for me as a counselor is to see these reports. And I do want to point out page 15, it was mentioned earlier this evening. But when I read that and then I was scooted on down a couple of pages and went back and looked at it again and moved forward, and I went, wait a minute, I'm going to make a note, I'm going to make a comment in council chambers so that those who are not looking at what we are seeing in our council package, it says, the library increased its availability time to the public by 110 hours in 2023 over what the library had been open in 2022. So hear this, 110 hours. That's 2.12 hours per week. But what amazing things happened with those extra 2 hours. I stopped for a moment in reflection thinking about way back when we had an anniversary on the library and the board boldly came before council and said they wanted to stop charging for library cards. and offer free library cards. And it was a good chunk of our income, and we all kind of, even on the board, we gasped. What kind of an idea is that? Because we'd be cutting off our income, but what do we get from that? And the use of the library exploded. So here you are, you make a bold step, adding additional open hours, and in just 2.12 hours per week, you get 60,971 more visitors to the library. That's shocking. And you circulated 25,310 more items. Somebody's busy over there. And if you can do that in 2.12 hours per week, I want you to come clean my house and paint it and help me get my projects done, because that is phenomenal. And so for the public that tunes in and can't see all of this, I simply want to say, well done. And thank you for your service.
Thank you for your comments, Councillor Hansard. Councillor Meyer?
Thank you, Your Worship. I'd just like to take the opportunity to maybe echo some of Councillor Hansard's comments. I know as the previous board appointee, or the council-appointed board member, I recognize that you guys have come a long way, and it has been a lot of work. I was at the beginning of I was there for the beginning of the organizational review, so it's nice to hear you guys. I wrote down the word smooth and efficient. That is wonderful to hear. As well, it's also nice to hear that you guys are working on that, reducing the board workload in those committees. So, good job. Hope to see the same director here next year again. I'm sure that'll go a long ways to implementing your work plan in that regard. So, keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Meyer. Any other comments, members of council? Okay. Seeing none, let's see. Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, definitely just wanted to highlight have meeting spaces, definitely the increase in meeting spaces from what I've seen and talked to members of the community groups and social groups that are always looking for a place. So thank you for opening the doors for that. And I just appreciate it because I think we were in there a couple of times that you have that little room to the front there where you can lock it off to the rest of the library. So when after hours and stuff. So I think that's a well-needed amenity in our community. So thank you for keeping that open. I want to ask about, there was a stat in there where it said 57,551 Wi-Fi sessions. So was that just teaching somebody how to connect to the Wi-Fi, how to stay secure on a Wi-Fi?
That's folks connecting to our Wi-Fi network that we also provide through the Alberta SuperNet, right? So that is an added value to this community, that we have high-quality, high-speed internet that anybody can connect to with their own device.
Okay, so it's just this is the connections that people are using and to access it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that too, because I think one of the things that town council has been working on was our broadband strategy, and that one of those issues we're trying to get, making sure that everybody had quality internet so that they can actually access it for entertainment, for work, and for school. And some areas of the town do not have that quality, so I'm glad that the library is there to provide that. So thank you. And then I just wanted to say thank you on behalf of my my nephew. He was there and he made the birdhouse with your program. So his dad hung it on the garage, and they're able to watch a bird go in there and out all the time this spring. So he is quite ecstatic that he helped build this birdhouse, and it's getting used by birds. So there's that. And then before I let you go, just thank you for your great work. I just want to say, for 44 years, the library has supported me in my journey and endeavor to get to where I am today. 40 years ago, I came from China that did not speak English, did not know how to read and write. So the library was one of the first places that I went to get in the easy reader books. Story time was a big thing for me. I enjoyed that quite a bit. And then, through us going through school, that also provided additional resources. And then when my kids were born, they also attended the library and did some programs and did the books. So just excellent. That was 44 years for myself and personally, but then see that the library is turning 80. I just can't imagine the amount of support and giving that hands up to many people in our community. So thank you very much for that. Thank you. Okay, and have a good day. Okay, members of council, moving on with the agenda. Number 5 is statutory public hearings. We have nothing scheduled tonight. Moving on to number 6, which is the adoption of council minutes. 6.1, members of council, you had the opportunity to read them. Any errors, omissions, or questions on those minutes? Okay, see none. Councilor Meyer, please.
Yes, thank you, Your Worship. The Town Council approved the June 10th, 2024 regular council meeting minutes as presented.
Okay, call the question. All those in favor? That is carried. Okay, moving on to number 7, which is council boards and committee minutes. There are 2, 7.1 and 7.2 are for the Cultural Roundtable and the Growth and Commerce. Members of council, you had the opportunity to read them. Any errors, omissions, or questions to the members of the appointees? Okay, Councilor Laurie, Deputy Mayor, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship. Cultural Roundtable, the May 15th minutes, page 38. It states the next meeting is on May 15th as well. So just a catch there that should be adjusted, and just wondering when the next meeting would be.
Excellent. I was actually going to ask if Councilor Hansard had created a time machine.
Your Worship, if I had, I wouldn't be here at my current age.
Okay. Thank you. Those will be adjusted accordingly, I think.
Would you like me to answer Councilor Laurie's
Yes, Dino.
question? We just had the Cultural Roundtable meeting. We've cut back. We do not, the manager came to the board and explained a bit of a restructuring of the board and why it would probably be better. So we now have meetings every other month, not every month as we had. It frees up the manager and her new staff member to get some of the other things done in the community. And so we are not meeting, but every other month now. And that meeting, I was just going to tell you when that was. I have to go into my calendar for that. Was on June 19th.
Okay. Thank you, Councilor Hansard. Any other questions on the minutes? Okay. Just a question to the council appointee, so that's either Councilor Hansard or Councilor Laurie, as Councilor Laurie, the Deputy Mayor, is the current representative on the Red Brick Common. So on page 36 of 200, under item number 7, there was an update given by Melissa Hartley, the Executive Director of the Red Brick Common, regarding the 2024 Alberta Culture Days grant. So I'm definitely happy to see that in there, and always looking forward to the events that are put on. Was there a kind of a outline of what kind of events and activities they may be planning? Councilor Hansard?
You're asking me about an update?
Yes, under number 7 on page 36, actually, I'm sorry. You were in attendance for that meeting, was just wondering if...
Number 7, Melissa Hartley gave an update.
Yes.
On the Cultural Days grant. She simply said that there was one. In all honesty, I don't recall if she stated the amount of the grant, but I do know that, I guess I'm curious what basically would be done with the grant money. And I'm not sure that, at that point, they're talking about what's going to be, not something that has actually happened, so.
Okay, I'm just happy to see that there, and just nothing, if they had dropped any hints of, some kind of celebration or some kind of event.
I know that there's discussion about things being done in a different way, and but then there's some favorites that have always happened around Culture Days,
Yes.
and people still want to see some of those. Mostly I find the Cultural Roundtable board meetings consist of a great deal of sharing of opinion by the different board members. The Cultural Roundtable literally takes a good chunk of time for different people to update on their committees and so forth. So
Okay, thank you. Councilor or Deputy Mayor, as the appointee to the Red Brick Common, have you heard anything about what might be planned?
Thank you, Your Worship. Unfortunately, the last Red Brick Common meeting was canceled as we were told there were no agenda items to be discussed and the financials were not up to date at that time. We do have a Red Brick Common meeting that is scheduled for tomorrow, though it's uncertain whether there will or will not be quorum. So I can ask the question tomorrow, but no, to date we have received no update on Alberta Culture Days, on the grant, and what the grant monies will be used for.
Okay. Yeah, if you don't mind, just when you do find that information, provide that out. I think council members enjoy attending some of the events during Culture Days.
Absolutely, Your Worship. If the meeting goes ahead tomorrow, I will ask. If not, I will ask it by email.
Thank you. Councillor Anderson, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have a question on 7.2, which is a separate item on our agenda, but it is combined on our council motion. So is that something I can ask now, or do we need to hold off for a second?
Yep, the motion is to accept both of them, so that's
perfect. Just the top of page 40, just I think a clerical error, but we're looking at the meeting held at 3 p.m., but it was called to order at 9:56. So either everybody was very early, or we have just a clerical error there to be fixed.
That is correct. I think usually the meetings are at 3 or 3:30. I'm not too sure exactly what time, but I think they changed that to accommodate some of the staff members. Okay, anywhere? Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship. Yeah, so that meeting was actually changed. It did occur during the daytime.
Okay, thank you for the confirmation. Any other questions for clarity and understanding? Seeing none, Councillor Anderson for the motion, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll move that Town Council receive the Council Board and Committee minutes for information this evening.
Okay, thank you. I'll call the question. All in favor? And that is carried. Thank you. Moving on to number 8 of our agenda is bylaws. We have nothing scheduled tonight. Number 9 is business items. 9.1 is the accepting for information of the 2023 annual report from the library. Members of Council, you had the presentation. You had the opportunity to read the agenda package. Any comments? Okay. See none. Councilor Peshko, I'll ask you to make the motion.
Yes, thank you, Your Worship. The Town Council accept the Stony Plain Public Library 2023 Annual Report Presentation for information.
Okay. Again, just before I call the motion, then Councillor Pletchko, if you can bring it back to the board, definitely we appreciate the work that the Stony Plain Library is doing in terms of collaboration and partnership with the town and the local businesses in the community, and definitely love to see what I saw there, and I think Councillor Myers said it as well, is that the transition has been fairly smooth, so definitely to look forward to the next couple of years of the leadership of the board and also our executive director. Call the question, all in favor? And that is carried. Okay, moving on to 9.2, as when we adopted the agenda, this was deferred till the end of the year, as we're in the current process of recruiting a new fire chief, and I'll give the fire chief some time to get himself updated with the fire department master plan, and then that presentation will come back to council at a later date. Moving on to number 10. Number 10 is council discussion, so this is the time that allows members of council to provide any input that they've heard from residents or anything that they want to share in terms of their committees and boards. Deputy Mayor?
Thank you, Your Worship. Just 3 quick things. I just wanted to say very well done to yourself for the panelist at the Build Luncheon, and it was attracting growth and jobs to the region. So it was great to attend that and hear yourself and Mayor Boersma talk about the great work that's been going on in the Edmonton Metro region and how we're working to attract and accommodate the growth that we're seeing in the EMRB's growth plan. Also, just wanted a reminder for our Canada Day festivities. It's always a fantastic day, and hopefully the weather will cooperate as we've seen beautiful weather this last week. And then just a reminder that our free youth transit passes for the summer has kicked off, and I believe the event is this coming Friday at the Youth Center, where they can come and drop their applications off and pick up their passes. And so looking forward to hearing the feedback from our youth on how the transit system works for them and how effective it is prior to going into corporate plan this year. So that's all for me this evening, and go Oilers.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Councillor Pletchko.
Yes, thank you, Your Worship. I just want to start off by thanking our staff for putting on Midsummer Thursdays. I had a chance to participate with a few of the councillors this year on Thursday nights, and the amount of people that were downtown were phenomenal. For some reason, our balloons are a big hit, so the helium, I don't know where it's going, but it disappears really quick. And we have a lineup of kids that want balloons, and even adults and the younger generation that are bringing their boyfriends or girlfriends downtown. So we've seen a lot of that that evening, and it was quite exciting to see many, many people downtown. So thank you to the staff that put that on. They take a lot of time. And to the staff that manned the booth, besides the booth that council manned. So congratulations to each one of them that took time and effort to spend that evening downtown. It says a lot about our staff when they put in time that's over and above, so I appreciate that. And also, just wanted to thank Mayor Choi for the opportunity to be Deputy Mayor for the last 4 months. There was lots on the table, lots of events to go to, and lots of meetings to attend. So I'm glad that Councillor Laurie will be now the Deputy Mayor, and he can have that joy.
Thanks, Councillor Fletchko. Councillor Hansard.
Well, Your Worship, I did want to speak briefly to the Midsummer Thursdays event. I thought it was, we had a beautiful day. It was a bit windy, but it was a beautiful day, lots of people out. The band, the musical entertainment in the circle. Do we have an official name for that circle? It's not really a town square because it's a town circle.
There you go. You just have it, Councillor Hansard. It's the town circle.
Okay. Well, there was a band there performing, and it's actually one of my favorite performance bands from last year's summer sessions, and they were a really big hit. Lots of people sort of dancing and carrying on in their, wherever they were in the area. Lots of kids seemed to be present and enjoying things, and it was a really good community event. I ran into about 7 people who were new to the community, and a few of them visited the town booth, and they were glad to get the mural guides and the destination guides and all that. I did have somebody ask, last year, didn't you guys have little sticky notes out, and did you see how many people said they wanted a fishing pond in town? And I thought, was that Midsummer Thursdays where we asked those questions? They have not forgotten about the fishing pond to people. So I just thought I would mention that. Might be an outdoor space that we have to get put on the agenda. And my husband mentioned it to me last night too. So I just thought you would, just another councillor's opinion about Midsummer Thursdays. I think 3 a summer is plenty. It's a lot of work. But honestly, people do turn out, and I expect them to grow through this summer.
Thank you, Councillor Hansard. Councillor Loyens.
Thank you, Your Worship. I just wanted to remind everybody that school is officially out on Wednesday. I look at Councillor Anderson, no? Thursday? Okay, so most schools are out on Thursday. My kids happen to already be done. That's why I'm confused. But just to watch out for the kids, because we know they're going to be out running around and enjoying the summer as much as we do. So that is all.
Thank you. Councillor Meyer.
Yes, thank you, Your Worship. Not much to share in terms of the community, but I did think I'd take an opportunity here to maybe start a bit of a conversation with a topic that we're all familiar with, although I'm not sure that we address it per se, in regards to artificial intelligence. So I guess to start the conversation, I'd love to know if administration, if we are currently using any artificial intelligence in our programming, and if not, are we looking at it? And if we would ever, I guess we would, but should we start considering policy around artificial intelligence?
Your Worship, thanks, Councillor Meyer, for the question. I can provide some context or a few comments. First question I think I heard you say was, are we using that at all? I believe I think, unless one of the GMs want to help me out, but I believe our communications department has been dabbling a little bit in ChatGPT on certain things, testing the waters, kind of seeing how that may work for us, I believe. And I believe that's about it for current use of I'll just use AI as a pretty broad stroke commentary. Moving forward, I think for some of us, I was, just at the FCM conference this past few weeks ago, there was a session involving, I believe it was the city of Kelowna, who is starting to dabble in some AI technology on permitting applications side of the world. And I guess from there, what I would say, Your Worship, rest of council, that's a future that is going to be there in one way, shape, or form across probably a lot of different sectors and industries. And I would assume that the town of Stony Plain, along with other municipal governments across Canada, will find their place, find their space in that. And then a question as to council policy or council governance aspects related to AI. I think there is some space, direction, related to, whether it's privacy issues or about 3 or 4 different governance-related approval direction that there is space for council to weigh in on. Further to that, though, Your Worship, I would say, we don't have something imminent in our processes to bring that forward. I think it's still, judging from what I've seen from some of our industry associations, it's really starting to bubble up as a topic, and how do we implement this? How do we govern this? So I think a number of our team, and we're learning some of that as well. And I think, Your Worship, I'll stop there and see if that's just a bit of an overview or a bit of a perspective that I'm aware of where we're at right now.
Councillor Meyer?
Oh, that was great to hear. Like I say, it's a conversation that we are bound to have at some point. And I do believe there is a governance role. I think certainly people would like to know when they do interact with artificial intelligence, and so I look forward to hearing more about it.
Thank you. Councillor Anderson, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just very quickly, school is out, and those kiddos are going to be out running around, and with that, certainly want to offer gratitude to those teachers and school staff, whether they're in the office, support staff, working out a div office, whatever that might be. So many of our school division staff live, work, and play in our community, but they invest so much time and energy in our young people. And so just as the year comes to an end, I want to extend our thanks and gratitude for the work of our school staff.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Just wanted to highlight a couple things. Summer sessions are in full swing. This Wednesday will be the 3rd session that's going on, and that's every Wednesday. Starts at, I think the gates open around 5. The first act gets on there around 6, and then the headliner goes on around 7. So definitely an opportunity to get some entertainment. It's free for the family. There's usually a food truck or two there, and it's kind of great local artists, and then even we have some artists from North America as well. I just want to thank our community groups. I think Councillor Laurie, Deputy Mayor, mentioned about Canada Day, so definitely thank you to the Pioneer Museum, as they're the full partner with the town of Stony Plain and making sure that does happen. And there is usually lots of activities to do, and tons of families and children do come down and celebrate Canada Day. If you're all looking as well, next week is the first cultural campfire for this year. It runs every Thursday from July 4th to August 22nd. And that's Thursdays, that's right behind here in Shikawi Park. And there's actually 2 other days that is actually the trifecta and then the exactors, as you talk about in terms of how we look at things. On July 18th would be the 2nd Midsummer Thursdays, and also lines up with the cultural campfire, so you can kind of move on both of them. And August 15th, it's a trifecta of activities in our community. Not only do we have Midsummer Thursdays that Thursday, we also have the cultural campfire, but we also have the outdoor movie that evening. So that is the trifecta of events that are happening within the town of Stony Plain, and usually that kind of highlights everything before everything starts to wind down for the summer and everything gets back to school and back to kind of regular programming. So with that, just want to make sure that I want to say thank you to all our community groups, volunteers, and partners that actually make these things happen in our community. Without you, our community is not as strong as it is, and you definitely feel it when you come to the town of Stony Plain, that there is a sense of pride and community in town of Stony Plain is because we have people that care and love our community. With that, we're adjourned.